Ni Lukmanul Hakim bin Nidi. My number matric is 1192685. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Ainun Tahira binti Abdul Rahim. Matric number 1192694.
Hello. Hi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. My name is Danish Haziq bin Kamaruzzaman. My matric number is 1192687. InsyaAllah today, first of all, I would like to thank our two lecturers, Dr. Kasum and Dr. Ishaq, who have given a lot of guidance to successfully complete this assignment. And do not forget to also wish happy Aidul Adha to our two lecturers, Dr. Ishaq and Dr. Kasum. Okay, I will go through the introduction before I will discuss for the question, the case study. Here is a story about a 23 years old Indian woman who went to America to pursue her American dream. As a traditional Hinduism, she should have gotten married when she was over 18 years old, but she chose to go to university. She should have stayed in India and gotten married while she graduated, but she determined to go to America to pursue her dream. And today, 30 years later, the Indian woman becomes the CEO of the PepsiCo, one of the world's largest soda and snacks companies. She is also named the third most powerful woman in the world and the first most powerful woman in the business world. What is more, she is also a good wife, a mother of two lovely daughters, and her name is Indra Krishnamurti Nui. As a leader, Indra Nooyi has the common leadership traits a good leader should have, such as energy, self-confidence, and sociability. But as a great leader and as a female leader of a company with 198,000 employees, she should have much more than that. Okay, a simple definition of leadership is the art of motivating a group of people to act toward achieving a common goal. This leadership definition captures the essentials of being able and prepared to inspire others. Effective leadership is based upon ideas, whether original or borrowed, but won't happen unless those ideas can be communicated to others in a way that engages them enough to act as the leader wants them to act. Put even more simply, the leader is the inspiration for and director of the action. They are the person in the group that possesses the combination of personality and leadership skills to make others when others want to follow their direction. Okay, I will go through the question for the case study. Question number 1. Indra Nooyi has displayed a leadership style that is congruent with transformational leadership. What shaped her leadership behaviors? Okay, in my opinion, the shape of Indra Nooyi leadership behavior is encouragement from her family. Based on the story Indra Nooyi family always encouraged her to be a good leader by playing a game that taught her to be a leader. When Nooyi was little, every night at the dinner table, her mother would ask her family to write a speech about what they would do if they were president, chief minister, or prime minister. Every day would be a different work of leader that her mother asked them to play. At the end of dinner, Nooyi and her family had to give the speech, and her mother had to decide who she was going to vote for. As a result, her mother chose Indra Nooyi because she has influenced and shaped her approach in the work that she has done. we can see that the Noy's family always trained Noe, one of which in terms of her communication. To be a good leader, we must good speaking with other people. So every night, Noe's family trained her to be a good leader one day. So we can see that if we want to be a good leader, to successful leader, we firstly we must train our communication, our speaking with other people. Inshallah. Next, Indra Noe is eager to be a leader with her highly confidence and determination that help her to be a leader. Her paternal grandfather, who is a judge, also inspiring her and trust her so that she is more confident with herself. From Noe's story, her paternal grandfather would make her write 200 times on a piece of paper as a child if she was unable to do a task the way he wanted it done. She became grateful for this practice when she grew older. Because of that, Indra Noe became proficient because every day she was trained by her family and her paternal grandfather. This purpose helped build Noe's confidence and shaped her to become leader. As a result, she became grateful for this practice when she grew older. When she first became a leader, she said men would not make eye contact with her in meetings and would constantly check her answer with one of her male colleagues. But rather than becoming disheartened with their attitudes, she began to call them out, and eventually they began to realize she was very good at her job for becoming a leader. Therefore, the determination from her shape and made her become a good leader and more confident. So, we want to be a good leader, we must confident and determination in ourselves, inshallah. So as a whole, Indra Noe became a good leader because on the support of her family when she was little. After she became a CEO of a PepsiCo, she has become a leader who is highly respected by many employees. Indra Noe is a leader who is respected by many employees with a kind and fair attitude in carrying out job. In Noe's story, taught us that become a leader is not just influence others and make them believe in us, but it is how we shape ourselves and strive to become a great leader for our followers. Her determination and high confidence, her encouraging from her parents, and her visionary and creativity is the main thing for Noe to achieve her goal and become a successful leader. Okay, the second question is the behavioral theory of leadership, where individuals are taught to be leaders, described in her case study. So, what's meaning of a behavioral theory of leadership? Behavioral theory of leadership is a leadership theory that considers the observable actions and reactions of leaders and followers in a given situation. Behavioral theories focus on how leaders behave and assume that leaders can be made, rather than born, and successful leadership is based on definable, learnable behavior. Behavioral theories of leadership are classified as such because they focus on the study of specific behaviors of a leader. These theories concentrate on what leaders actually do rather than on their qualities. Based on the case study, as we know, individuals can be taught to be leaders with their parents by encouraging them and give them some useful advice for them. So, when their parents always train their children to be a leader, one day their children can be a good leader for other people. Parents must teach from their children from an early age how to communicate with other people They must have soft skills in themselves. Other than that, to be a good leader, we must confidently with ourselves, because we will meet various human causes when we become a leader. That is why we need to learn how to communicate with other people with using soft skills. Communicate. As example, in the case study shown, Indra Nooi's mother asked her and her sibling to write a speech about what would they do if they are president, chief minister, or prime minister every night at the dinner table. At the end of dinner, they had to give a speech, and her mother will decide who will she's going to vote for. This activity shows a good example to boost confidence in delivering a good speech and develop a great characteristic of leadership. As a leader, we need to have many thought about handling our subordinate and resolving their concerns. In addition, parents play an important role in individual to enhance and develop a good leadership skills. Okay, next. Individual need to learn to be a trustworthy and fair leader in performing a task that has been entrusted to them. In Quran, Allah had explained about leadership that is trustworthy and carries out its duties and is responsible in performing its duties in Surah An-Nisa verses 58. A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Inna Allaha ya'murukum an tu'addul amanati ila ahliha wa idza hakamtum bainan nasi an tahkumu bil 'adl. Inna Allaha ni'ma ya'idhukum bih. Inna Allaha kana sami'an basira. Indeed, Allah commands you to render trust to whom they are due in when you judge between people, to judge with justice. Excellent is that which Allah instructs you. Indeed, Allah is ever hearing and seeing. Surah An-Nisa verses 58. This Quran verse explains that a message needs to be conveyed to the person who can really carry it. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala message to His servants that must be implemented. Among others, carry out what He commands and stay away from His prohibitions. All the blessings of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala in the form of anything we should use to taqarrub, as get closer to Him. A person's mandate to his neighbor that must be implemented. Among others, return the deposit to the owner with no less than anything. Do not cheat on it, keep secrets on, and so on. So when we a leader, we must fair and trustworthy with others, so that others people can be satisfied in and trust us in performing our duties in an organization. Individuals also can be taught by leadership education. Like leadership itself must rely on heuristic approaches such as mentoring, coaching, partnering, and trial and error experience. Gun B 2000. Most educators agreed that individual personality traits provide at least part of the basic upon which leadership skills are built, and such characteristics reach stability by adolescence. Finally, individuals also can be taught by someone that influence or a role model to emulate. A role model can be someone who inspires you to become a good leader. Either it's someone close to you or maybe someone you never met. For example, Indra Nooy always surround herself with mentors to discuss plan and seeks for an advice from her mentor. This is the good method that can be used to learn some of experience from the mentor to improve our leadership skills. In brief, we will have a good experience by looking people around us, being a leader and learn from their action to improve our characteristic that will be used on the future. In conclusion, we know that all human in this world are leaders. Being a leader is not something easy and bear a lot of responsibility. Even though you don't have any position in company, you still are a leader. As quotation from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, everyone is a leader and will be held accountable for his or her leadership. A head of state is the leader of his people and will demand responsibility for the people he leads. A husband is the leader of his family and will be asked about the family he leads. A wife is the leader of the household and her children and will be asked about their responsibilities. A housekeeper is in charge of the property of his employer and will be asked for his answer. And you are all leaders and will be asked for their responsibilities. Hadith riwayat Muslim. Also that we can make Prophet Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam our role model in our life to be a successful and good leader on the future. Inshallah, we go through the next questions.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nik Lukmanul Hakim. Before that, I would like to thank you to Dr. Kasum and Dr. Ishaq for teaching us all this time. And I pray both of you and your family in a good condition. Okay, I will continue. Thank to my friend for presented yearly with a great explanation. Okay, describe two of Noyi personality trait. Okay, as we all know, personality trait is a characteristic pattern of thinking, feeling, behaving that tends to be consistent over time and across relevant situations. Okay, the first Indra Nooyi as personality trait is that she is an extravagant person. Extraversion consistently predict social outcome. Highly extravert individuals tend to have more friends and dating partner and are seen by their peer as having higher social status. They generally prefer and perform better in social and enterprising occupation and are more likely to adopt community leadership role. Okay, psychologically, extrovert tend to experience greater subjective well-being than introvert, especially in terms of frequency and intensity of positive information. As an example, we can see that Indra Nooyi is an extravagant person is when she first become leader, she said men would not make eye contact with her in meeting and would consistently check her answer with one of her male colleagues. But rather than becoming disheartened with attitude, she began to call them and eventually they began to realize she was very good at a hire. This shows that Indra Nooyi communication skills are very good and well received by his employee. Okay, his second personality trait of Indra Nooyi that she has the nature of agreeableness. Agreeableness is associated with a number of affiliate and pro-social outcome. For example, highly agreeable individuals tend to be better liked by their peer and their close relationship tend to be more stable and satisfying. They generally prefer social occupation and are more likely to hold a religious belief, perform volunteer work, and serve in community leadership role. Agreeable individuals are also less likely to engage in criminal behavior. Communication through the use of message heightening the emotion response. When Indra Nooyi became leader in PepsiCo, Nooyi always surround herself with mentors to discuss plan, and she seek advice. She thinking, intelligent and open-minded, and does not procrastinate and stick to her work until it produce the desired result. Personality like this is very good and should be emulated, because agreeableness can upgrade a person and organization to be more forward and become more efficient. Okay. We continue about fourth question. What is your opinion on Nooyi writing letter expressing her gratitude to her staff? Okay, my opinion on Nooyi writing letter expressing her gratitude to her staff is a very deliberate way to signal to someone that they are valued and the work that they do is truly making difference. An appreciation letter will boost an employee confidence in their role and their motivation to do a good job. It build relationship between Indra Nooyi staff. It's natural to think that gratitude is beneficial for the recipient. While this is true, gratitude positively influence both parties. In fact, gratitude is a way to strengthen relationship with others, including those we work with. Interested in an easy way to strengthen your professional relationship? Say thank you, whatever via email, handwriting note, face-to-face communication. Expressing thanks is a simply yet effective way to acknowledge that an action is valuable and meaningful to you. Nooyi writing letter expressing her gratitude to her staff it has a positive impact on company culture. Company culture is a huge factor when it comes to staff retention and onboarding top talent. In today's tight market, people want more than just a job, but a place where they are more likely to enjoy their time in the workplace and the people around them. When practicing gratitude in the workplace, your workplace will boost. When practicing gratitude in the workplace boost personally and encouraging others to do the same, your workplace will be happier, more productive, and hopefully demonstrate employee advocacy to attract new talent and create positive onboarding experience. Okay, which transformational leadership character is being portrayed by her gesture? Okay, transformational leadership characteristic that portrayed by Nooyi gesture is being an inspiring leader. Inspirational is the degree to which the leader articulates a vision that is appealing and inspiring to followers. People seek to be inspired, and transformational leaders are perhaps the most inspiring of all. They have the ability to motivate others to rise to the occasion. As Indra Nooyi, who wrote a letter to her staff to show gratitude to them. This will make the work done by Nooyi staff more meaningful, and Nooyi staff will definitely look up to the action done by Indra Nooyi, as well as Nooyi staff will inspire him and make Indra Nooyi an idol. Their style of inspiration is not just limited to formal acknowledgement of a job well done. Rather, they treat each other as a valued individual and take time to understand what motivates them. InsyaAllah. We continue again for the fifth question. What are the characteristics of a good leader? Good leader make their work look easy, but the reality is that most have had to work hard on themselves a good leader can change the environment in the organisation to be positive and pleasant, because the aura of a good leader really affect the surrounding. A good leader do not leave people behind. They don't charge forward without order. They mobilize others and continue inspires them to strive toward the destination. Among the characteristics of a good leader are integrity, ability to delegate, communication, self-aware, gratitude, learning, agility, influence, empathy, courage, and respect. The first characteristic of a good leader are integrity. Integrity is essential for the individual and the organisation. It is especially important for top-level executives who are charting the organisation course and making countless other significant decisions. Then, ability to delegate. Delegating is one of the core responsibility of leader, but it can be tricky to delegate effectively. The goal isn't just to free yourself up. It also to enable your direct report, facilitate teamwork, provide autonomy, lead to better decision making, and help your direct report grow. Besides, we need to be able to communicate in a variety of ways, from transmitting information to coaching your people, and must be able to communicate with a range of people across role, social identity, and more. Self-awareness, while this is more inwardly focused skill, self-awareness is paramount for leadership. The better you understand yourself, the more effective you can be. Furthermore, is gratitude. Giving thanks will actually making you a better leader. Gratitude can lead to higher self-esteem, reduce depression and anxiety, and even better sleep. Okay, then learning agility. Learning agility is the ability to know what to do when you don't know what to do. Learning agility through practice, experience, and effort. As we know, influence is also being able to convince people. Influence is being able to convince people through logically. Emotional or cooperative appeal are a component of being an inspiring, effective leader. Also, empathy. Empathy is a correlate with job performance and a critical part of emotional intelligence and leadership effectiveness. Rather than avoiding problem or allowing conflicts to fester, courage enable leader to step up and move things in the right direction. Lastly is respect. It will ease tension and conflict, create trust, and improve effectiveness. Respect is more than the absence of disrespect, and it can be shown in many different ways. Okay, can you describe someone you know who has this quality? The best leader and has all these characteristics is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He all the quality to be good leader have been perfectly posed by him. He was the most successful leader ever to exist. Rasulullah is the most suitable person to be a good leader and also the most suitable to lead his people. The character of a good leader has been highlighted by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam since he was young. Rasulullah also have a very honest nature and even everyone believe in his word. The perfect and good moral shown by Rasulullah made him liked by everyone, even by the enemy. Feather like this are very hard to find in a modern leader nowadays. As an example, we can see Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a good leader and most suitable to lead is Rasulullah and the traditional animosity between the Aus tribe and the Khazraj tribe. These two tribes were merged into the Ansar. After that, the Ansar group was combined with the Muhajirin group, namely the Quraysh who came from Mecca. With this success, he was the first figure to unite the Arab of different race to become a united and strong nation. Apart from that, he also solved the problem of moving Hajar al-Aswad to his place of origin and also formed the Church of Medina. Rasulullah SAW was the head of the Islamic government in Medina. Allah SWT give the recognition to the superior leadership that is in His Majesty through His word, which means indeed for you in the messenger of Allah is a good example to follow. That is, for those who always hope pleasure of Allah and good reward of the hereafter. And he also mentioned and remember Allah a lot in difficult and easy time. Surah Al-Ahzab verse 21. That's all for me. Thank you. We move to other question.
Next, question number 6. What is transformational leadership? Relate this to your organization or institution with regard to its efforts in achieving its vision and mission. What is transformational leadership? Okay, transformational leadership is a theory of leadership where a leader works with teams to identify need change, creating a vision to guide the change through inspiration, and executing the change in tandem with committed members of group. Transformational leadership is when leader behaviors influence followers and inspire them to perform beyond their perceived capabilities, achieve results, get autonomy that they can make decisions once they have been trained. Next, relate this to your organization or institution with regard to its effort in achieving its vision and mission. Okay. In order to be a transformational leader in our organization, there are 4 categories that can be our efforts to achieve vision and missions regarding to the transformational leadership. The first category is idealized influence. The second is inspirational motivation. Next, the third category is called intellectual stimulation, and the fourth category is individualized consideration. Okay, we go to the first category. The first category, idealized influence, includes behavior that involve becoming a strong role model for the followers or subordinates. If the followers see the leaders working conscientiously and diligently, they will begin to respect and admire the leaders. We can also become our employees' strong role model is by being uncompromisingly ethical, that can communicate to employees that we have high moral and ethical standards. Other than that, we also can emphasize to our employers that make self-sacrifice to help employees to realize the mission. Next, the second category is inspirational motivation. It involves developing a promising vision and clearly communicating that vision to employees through the use of inspiring stories, vivid imagery, and captivating symbols. It also includes making emotional appeals to employees to work harder and beyond their role and responsibilities. The third category is called intellectual stimulation. It includes encouraging followers from different perceptions and allowing them to come out with creative solutions. It also involves supporting our subordinates that they can think outside the box and try new methods to solve existing problems. The fourth category is individualized consideration. It's coaching and helping followers to achieve goals. It also involves providing a supportive climate and carefully listening to their needs that we can help them to fulfill their needs. For some followers, leaders might have to provide explicit guidance regarding job, while some others, leaders might have to offer them to resources that they need and let them figure out the situation by their own. Question number 7. Describe the perception surrounding gender in relation to leadership. Gender refers to social traits of men and women that range from norms and relationships to roles. Studies reveal that people's perceptions toward gender vary from one society to another and are object to bond over time. The society instills behavior and norms such as relationships between people from opposite sex of workmates to people. There are some differences between men and women leaders that can be seen in leadership role and their effectiveness in such positions, as well as their leadership style. Firstly, transformational versus transactional. A woman leadership style needs tend to be geared toward supporting the efforts of employees and building their skills so they are able to take on greater levels of responsibility. Women in management positions also tend to place more emphasis on communication, cooperation, affiliation, and nurturing than men. In contrast, men leadership is frequently transactional, breaking down work processes into a series of steps with rewards tied to their completions. Decision making. Studies reveal that women focus on developing and maintaining strong work relations with both the junior and senior employees to streamline operation. In contrast, men rarely focus on work relationships as they concentrate on results. Actually, a woman leader debates an idea with the subordinate making a decision, while men portray calm and self-contemplation of issues before concluding on the concentrate source of action. Thirdly, communication style. Men have the tendency to be more linear focused, which is direct and straightforward, while women communication styles have a tendency to be more circular focused, which is indirect and polite. Men likely to be more interested in the punishment or solution than the cause of the problem, and females are more likely to think and react to situations based on their emotions. Lastly is attitude. Attitude affects an individual's perception towards guiding others and offering solutions to complex challenges. According to the gender role theory, women learn feminine duties at young age, which influence their mental attitude and further careers than men. In conclusion, from the Indra Nooyi's case study, there are a few great lessons that we can learn from the inspiring woman. Firstly, everyone needs a vision. Vision is important to us because a vision can inspire our action. If we have a vision in our life, we can create plans, setting goals, making decisions, and evaluate the tasks or job that we want to accomplish the goals. Our vision must be clear so we know what we want to do and we can relate it with Nooyi's experience when she became the CEO of Pepsi. She didn't start off with the idea of changing the face of the company. She started off with a bigger vision for the company and then built towards achieving the goal. This is why it is important to have a vision first and then plan to process out. Secondly, we must be a good listener. When someone is talking to us, we need to be a good listener even though we are not interested to their topic. According to Indra Nooyi, listening is perhaps the most important thing. This is where listening plays a huge role in our life. Next, we should ensure that the culture is not a fact to us. Where we come from is our defining factor. Even if we move from place to place, we must ensure that our culture remains the same wherever we are. Like Indra Nooyi said, wherever you do, throw yourself into it. Throw your head, heart and hands into it. Lastly, Indra Nooyi has taught us to be a confident person. When we have a confidence in ourselves, we actually believe in ourselves, feeling comfortable in our true self, and we can speak easily in front of many people. If we are confident, people will believe us, and it also helps to connect well with others. Indra Nooyi also said to us, don't let anybody take away your confidence. It's yours. Because you can overcome anything if you have got confidence. That's all from us. Thank you and wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Great question. I've always talked about my 5 C's model, and let me talk about them again. The first is competency. I think anybody who wants to be a future leader should have a hip pocket skill that everybody looks at and says XYZ is the go-to person for that skill. Because unless you're really known for something and not just as a generalist, you don't stand out from the pack. But in order to be competent at something, you've got to be a lifelong student because you've got to constantly refine your knowledge of that subject so that you remain ahead and abreast of everything that goes on in that field first. The second I'd say is courage and confidence. It's a pair. You can be very, very competent, but if you're not willing to speak out, if you're not willing to have the confidence based on your knowledge, what's the point, right? You just roll over. So courage and confidence are very important. The third is communication skills. You cannot overinvest in communication skills, written and oral communications, because as a leader, you constantly have to mobilize the troops. I can tell you when I first came to the United States, I used to debate and I used to be on debating teams, but I used to speak so fast because culturally I grew up in an environment where people spoke very fast. Fortunately, Yale had a requirement that unless you passed the communications course, you couldn't graduate from the first year to the second year in business school. I flunked the first time I took the communications course. So over summer, I took it again, which was the best thing that happened because I learned to sync my brain with my output from my mouth, and so I started to slow down what I was saying. Huge difference. So I'd encourage all of you, invest in communication skills, critically important. The fourth skill I'd say is consistency. It's important that leaders are consistent. You can change your mind, but change your mind against a consistent framework, because if you're not consistent, people are always second guessing what you're doing. So be consistent. And the last skill is your compass. Integrity is critical in this job. You can be competent, you can be courageous, have confidence, be a great communicator, be consistent. But if you don't have integrity, if that compass doesn't point true north, everything comes crashing down, as we've seen in recent times. So again, it's the 5C model, and that's what I've operated against for all my life.